We are down to the final days of the NBA regular season, and there still is so much to be decided, with teams having anywhere from 4 to 5 games left to play. So let's talk about the home stretch of the association with the wonderful host for Sirius XM Radio. That is David Shepard, and he joins me now. Dave, how you doing, man?
Dexter, I'm really well, man. I've watched you for a long time, so thank you so much for having me, man. It's a privilege to be on with you.
Oh, man, thank you. I'm glad to have you here. You know I love to talk to NBA, and definitely to talk with someone like you, so well-versed in the association. And Dave, NBA fans didn't get to see the Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic matchup that everybody wanted to see this week in Denver. The MVP award looked like it was the Jokers to lose earlier this season, but with just over a week to go, who's the MVP of this league?
Well, Dexter, first of all, they're not going to see it in the finals. That's a promise. And I will tell you this. You have Joel Embiid, who's going 33 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. No one has done that since Kareem and Wilt in terms of centers. You have Nikola Jokic, who's going 25 points per game and 10 assists per game. That's an all-time high for any center. You also have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's averaging a career-high 31 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. So all three are making and cementing a case to being an NBA regular season MVP. Dexter, this is where you got to lean with Nikola Jokic. Giannis's teams, when he's on the floor, they win 74% of the time. When he's not on the floor, they win 63% of the time. Joel Embiid, they win 66% of the time when he's on the floor. They win 64% of the time when he's not on the floor. But Nikola Jokic, when he plays, 72% of the time they win. When he doesn't play for the Nuggets, and they're just out with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter and KCP, etc., they only win 30% of their games, so they belong in the San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets territory. So Joel Embiid's team, they go from really good to really good. Giannis's Bucks, they go from great to really good. Nikola Jokic, they go from really good to horrendous. And that is why, whether we like it or not, I understand he's going to win 3 straight. You got to give him the MVP, given what his team is with him on the court compared to what they are without him on the court.
So, Dave, why I like that there, what you did there, is you're showing the actual value, and I think value matters in the most valuable player award, and those stats that you just showed up gives you why Jokic has been the most valuable player in the league thus far this season. Now, moving on, I love that there. On Thursday night, the Celtics, they beat the brakes off the Bucks, who you just mentioned. The Bucks are the best team in the East. Well, the question is, are they the best team in the East, or will another East team have something to say about being that in the postseason?
Yeah, Dexter, so you're well aware of this. Look, the Bucks, they are pacing themselves for the playoffs. Nobody played more than 25 minutes that game, including Giannis Antetokounmpo. So they didn't take that game all that seriously. I understand they got the tar beat off them. But the reality is this. We saw what happened last season in that Game 7 series without Chris Middleton, a perennial all-star, and they were within 2 possessions away of beating the Celtics last year without their second-best player. Giannis is better than he's ever been. Chris Middleton is shaping into form. Drew Holiday, he's at his apex defensively and offensively. This guy is a minor miracle in terms of how he has aged. Brook Lopez is having a renaissance. This is an individual that I believe thinks he's a net all of a sudden because he's putting up 20 and 15 games like we're accustomed to seeing 10 years ago. You got guys like Pat Connaughton and Grayson Allen, and then you have individuals like Wesley Matthews and Joe Ingles. This is a deeper team than where they were last year, and they're healthier than where they were last year, and they're going to have home court advantage. So therefore, you got to look at the Bucks and say they're in the driver's seat. Yes, I know it's a regular season debacle that happened, but that is an aberration more so than the norm, what's going to take place in the playoff. Expect a great Eastern Conference Finals. I got Bucks in 7, Dexter.
All right, Bucks in 7. You're not backing off of them like that there. And as of this recording, let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 7th in the West and a game behind the Warriors for 6. Are you buying the Lake Show as a team that can make some noise if they get into the playoffs?
Dexter, I'm seeing Anthony Davis go for 38 and 17 last night, and I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I'm not surprised that he's on the court, and second of all, I'm not surprised by those numbers. This is an individual that's playing like the dude at the beginning of the season, like the guy in the bubble, like the guy when he was carrying the New Orleans Pelicans, and he was a perennial All-NBA first-team player. Anthony Davis, the Brow, whatever you want to call him, he has found the fountain of youth again. He's in year 11. People don't realize how long he's been in the NBA, but he's playing like a man on a mission. LeBron with the foot, he is rounding into form, and they have fits. I mean, Russell Westbrook, what were they thinking? And we can go down that Pandora's box for a whole nother 5 minutes. I know we don't have time for that, but Dexter, you have fits. You have D'Angelo Russell. You have, Jared Vanderbilt. You have Malik Beasley. You have D'Angelo Russell. And so they finally have guys guys that complement the games of LeBron and Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis is playing like a one-man wrecking crew. And LeBron James, as great as he is, whatever you want to put him in terms of the all-time great discussion, he is in year 20. He cannot be the best player night in and night out. And it's why I believe he got so injured this year, because so much pressure is being applied to him. And at that point of his career, it's got to be Anthony Davis carrying the load. And we saw that last night, 38 points, 17 rebounds. And I wasn't surprised, and pun intended, Dexter, I didn't have to raise an eyebrow. So I believe the Lakers are very much a consideration to be contenders in the West. This West is wide open. It's the wild, wild West, Dexter. I can't freaking wait, man. Playoffs are going to be off the charts exciting.
I like the pun play there. You didn't have to raise an eyebrow. I like it, Dave. I just think the Laker fans might be a little concerned if Anthony Davis could get injured, because he has a tendency to sometimes end up on the injured list.
When does that ever happen? When does Anthony Davis ever let you down with injury? Come on.
Yeah, well, when does that ever happen? All right, Dave, last thing here. I want to talk, you talked about how the West is wide open, so I wanted to talk to you about the Nuggets, right? Because they've been the best team in the West, despite faltering a bit in March. Does Denver have what it takes to reach the NBA Finals?
Without question, Dexter. And I understand people are going to use their lack of playoff experience, particularly their lack of finals experience, against them. But here's what I remember. I remember a young Jamal Murray. I remember a young Michael Porter Jr. And I remember a Nikola Jokic, who still doesn't look like he can get up and down the court sometimes, but nonetheless is going to be a 3-time regular season MVP. When those three guys were healthy, they were in the Western Conference Finals. Michael Porter Jr. has gotten better. Jamal Murray has ascended. Nikola Jokic is at his apex in terms of being a great passer, in terms of being a point center. And then you have individuals like KCP. You have an individual like Reggie Jackson, Uncle Jeff Green. Did you see that dunk, by the way, that he had on Giannis? I mean, Dexter, that dunk was one of the greatest dunks I've ever seen for a player at any age. This guy is 36 going on 25. And so you look at the depth that the Nuggets have, you look at the coach that they have in Mike Malone. Coaching matters in the NBA. I don't want to care what anyone says about that. It's a misconception that coaching doesn't matter in the NBA. And so to me, you have Nikola Jokic, who understands the resume is missing in terms of that championship. He is playing like a man possessed. You have Michael Porter Jr. healthy. You have Jamal Murray healthy. And you got depth, and you got size, and you got a bench that all seem to be in cohesion. And I'm still not over that dunk that Jeff Green had on Giannis Antetokounmpo, by the way. Unbelievable stuff.
Everybody likes it when Uncle Jeff gets up and throws a one down. That is David Shepard. You can catch him on Sirius XM Radio, one of the best NBA hosts out there talking NBA. Dave, you covered a lot. We're going to enjoy these final stretch of games, final 4 or 5 games, depending on where your team is at in the NBA. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll have to do this again. Thank you, man.
Dexter, thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege, man. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. There we go. Thank you, man.